Welcome to Mindly Way, where we explore life philosophies to grow and find the right path. Get ready to listen for an inner journey. Don't look for anything outside of yourself. Undoubtedly, Miyamoto Musashi is among the greatest samurais in history. His exceptional swordsmanship was not only the product of his innate skill, but also of his unwavering discipline, which, according to his own writings, paved the way for his success. At the age of 13, Musashi engaged in his first and successful duel. From then on, he went on to win almost 60 bouts without losing, a record that still stands as one of the greatest historical feats of all time. In addition to being the greatest samurai in Japanese history, Miyamoto Musashi was also a thinker and artist. His life offers as a powerful illustration of how self-discipline can change everything. Without it, we're like rudderless ships that are readily influenced by the tides of impulse and instant desire. With that in mind, in this video, we'll examine Miyamoto Musashi's teachings for superior self-discipline and how they can be practically applied in our daily lives, accept everything just the way it is. Musashi saw self-discipline as more than just a tool for achievement. It was a shield against suffering. Musashi's perception isn't just for samurais facing life or death situations. It can be applied to the challenges we encounter every day. For example, imagine you're driving to an important meeting and your car breaks down. The immediate reaction for many of us might be to ask, why is this happening to me? Or even to curse our bad luck, thereby adding unnecessary suffering to the situation. However, Musashi suggests instead of labeling the situation as bad and sabotaging our efforts. Options include contacting a tow truck, alerting the individuals who are waiting for you, and determining the best course of action. Epictetus famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This idea is in line with the Stoic philosophy. The concept is simple yet profound. Although we may not be able to control what occurs to us, we are able to influence how we respond to it. Musashi also provides an engaging viewpoint on how we interpret events, cautioning us against categorizing them as good or bad. He contends that these classifications are mental constructs that we, as observers, impose upon the events, and that when we adopt a disciplined mindset, we liberate ourselves from these limiting judgments. Do not regret what you have done. Guilt is a useful emotion sometimes. It functions as a warning system to let us know when we've stepped over an ethical boundary. For example, feeling bad after hurting someone with your remarks is normal and even helpful because it demonstrates your concern for the consequences of your behavior and gives you an opportunity to make amends. Though they have different purposes, shame and regret are sometimes confused by a lot of people. Regret, on the other hand, is a mental state that doesn't serve us well. It's like a cloud that hangs over our thoughts, taking up valuable mental space and impeding discipline. Guilt is an emotional response that gives us helpful information to help us alter our conduct for the future. Miyamoto Musashi stressed the value of having a clean mind since he didn't have time to think back on the past. Instead, he had to concentrate on the activities that would keep him alive. Making wise decisions is something that regret can seriously jeopardize. Distraction-free thinking is essential to preserving discipline. One such distraction is regret. Remorse won't help you fix any of these situations, whether you lost all of your savings on a risky investment or played video games late into the night and missed a crucial class or meeting at work. Instead of becoming caught up in a cycle of regret that frequently results in feelings of helplessness, we should concentrate on taking proactive measures to address the situation. Making errors and growing from them is okay. It's not acceptable to allow those errors to become a source of regret. Our goal should be to advance, learn, and get better. Being affected by your residence, Musashi's strict self-discipline and unwavering mental state kept him steady regardless of his surroundings, whether he was in a tranquil temple or a chaotic battleground. Many of us might believe that a simple change of location will magically solve all our problems, leading to a happily ever after scenario, but Musashi is challenging this common notion and urging us to understand that the key to contentment isn't tied to a specific location. It's more about our mindset and how you engage with life. Happiness at its core is an internal state of mind. Sure, a new place might offer temporary boost in mood, but if you're not fundamentally content or aligned with your life's purpose, that initial happiness will likely fade. Eventually, you'll find yourself back at square one. This echoes the words of Confucius, who said, "No matter where you go, there you are." Musashi also prepares us for life's unpredictability. If we're on a path of self-improvement or seeking mastery in any field, We might end up in places we never saw coming. Maybe we'll find ourselves in a different country, adjusting to a new way of life, or even learning to navigate unfamiliar cultures. These changes go beyond just our physical location. They're tests of our mental and emotional strength. So instead of focusing on where we are, Musashi proposes that we should consider how we are. Are we adaptable, resilient, and committed to our goals? These are the qualities that will help us thrive, no matter where life takes us. To learn 10,000 things from no one will. In today's society, there are countless professional options and an overwhelming amount of career pathways. It's normal to be pulled to a variety of hobbies, whether they be in sports, technology, or the arts, which leads us to experiment in many fields. Although having a broad range of interests isn't always a bad thing, it can occasionally result in the shiny object syndrome, where people ditch one new and popular thought for another as soon as something else gets their attention. Musashi had a different strategy. He committed his entire life to learning the art of the sword and trained tirelessly every day. It's easy to overlook the fact that Musashi was also a skilled artist, a cerebral philosopher, and a master strategist. With this, we can argue that knowing one way doesn't mean limiting yourself to one pursuit. It emphasizes the importance of focused discipline in mastering one thing at a time and dedicating our full time and attention to this one thing until we master it. By doing so, we now know one way. So by extensively learning a skill and experiencing the entirety of what that is, we start seeing patterns which will help us learn other skills as well. In Miyamoto's case, his strategy was largely based on the patterns he learned from dueling his opponents and applying them on a larger scale in modern days. This can be illustrated by the resilience we gain by learning how to be adaptable in anything we do. It's the ability to learn how to learn. If you know how to study for one exam, you know how to study for the rest. Or if you know how to adapt in the workplace, you'll be able to handle any task you're assigned to. But it all starts with learning one way first so that you can later know 1,000. Never let yourself be saddened by a separation. Considering that Musashi was a samurai, a warrior who always faced life or death situations, this idea probably had a big impact on him personally, since whether it's from relocating to a new location, losing a loved one, or just choosing different routes in life, there will inevitably be times when people separate. It can be difficult to leave friends and family behind when you have to relocate to pursue a career opportunity or a passion. But Musashi believes that the key to discipline is learning to control your emotions, recognizing your sadness but continuing on your journey despite it. The idea of separation also applies to material possessions. For example, if your car or smartphone were taken away, would you lose your sense of self? Musashi cautions against attachments of this kind, arguing that they can turn into a kind of emotional slavery. The discipline in this situation is to understand that even though you can enjoy these things, they shouldn't emotionally own you. Never be jealous. You may be wondering how jealousy and discipline are related, but Musashi's teachings frequently address the obstacles that stand in the way of us being disciplined. It's easy to feel jealous of friends who have recently landed dream jobs or are traveling to far-off places when browsing social media. However, the problem with jealousy is that it diverts your attention from your own path and self-improvement. For example, it's highly unlikely that Musashi would have become the legendary warrior we know today if he had spent his time feeling jealous of other swordsmen. In the world of samurai, where life and death were separated by the narrowest of margins, Musashi concentrated on developing his own abilities, mastering his work, and realizing his own advantages and disadvantages. When jealousy tries to distract you, remember Musashi's unwavering focus and commitment to his craft, and use that as fuel to invest in yourself and become the greatest samurai in your own field. Just like Musashi, you can afford to waste your focus and allow yourself to get too distracted by what others are doing. Especially in the age of social media, judgment would have been a waste of precious time and energy resources that he could have used to become the best version of himself.